Welcome to the Histories of Northamptonshire podcast series, and this episode number 44. Recorded on location, each episode tells the story of one of the many and varied objects which are the focus of the exhibition A History of Northamptonshire in 100 Objects. The exhibition runs at the Northampton Museum and Art Gallery between the 20th of September 2025 and February 2026. Selected by local individuals, heritage groups and the museum's own curators, each object tells a different story from the county's past. And so, to our guest for this episode.
My name is Jeremy Pursglove. I'm a retired ecologist, landscape architect, and moved into the East Midlands from Cambridge 6 years ago. In 2020, I met two other people I didn't really know in a wood for the very first time, and we had a picnic, and in that wood we decided to form the Rockingham Forest Vision, which is a ginger group voluntary organisation to look after the remaining woodlands in Rockingham Forest.
What is the object that you have curated for the exhibition?
The Brigstock Jewel is a jewel which generally resides in the Victoria and Albert Museum in London and was found by metal detectorists near Brigstock. It is a 15th century hat jewel. If you look at the portraits of the 15th century kings, Edward IV, Richard III, those guys, they have a handsome cloth hat always, rather like Henry VIII, but slightly less fancy than his, and almost always a jewel in the top of the hat. And we think this is where it originated. It's gold and has two diamonds, a third one's been lost, and it has a central ruby, which is a gorgeous thing. It's quite tiny, but it's very beautiful. The ruby is called a spinel, and that is a kind of ruby as far as I can make out. In the crown jewels, the very famous Black Prince's ruby is a spinel. So those are the things that are in this rather exquisite thing.
And there's no doubt that this would have been worn by a man, not a lady, in their hat.
As we believe. I mean, I'm not a total archaeological expert, but that is what they all think, and that's what the V&A believes.
What do we know about where the detectorists found it? Are there any clues to how it was lost?
Well, the place, it was found in farmland, I understand. It was in a place that used to be a hunting park, and that in turn was within the Rockingham Forest. A magnificent forest, and it was very much a place where the royalty and the nobility went hunting. It was all about hunting. So
very much a royal playground in that case.
Yes, and so the theory is that somebody very fancy was out hunting and an equally fancy jewel was knocked off his hat.
So if you were out hunting with the nobility or the monarch, you would have been putting on your finest clothes and your finest jewellery to make a statement about yourself.
I guess so, yes.
Jeremy, you've listed the items, you've talked about gold. This clearly, as a piece of jewellery, was finely crafted. We're talking about top quality craftsmanship.
Absolutely, and very few of them have been found, yes.
Would this have made it a unique piece?
I think it was high status, but it wouldn't have been unique. I mean, I'm sure there were others. And as peering hard at the portrait of Richard III, the one in his hat looks slightly larger, the jewel.
This item was bought for the nation, I believe,
yes.
which is why it currently resides, or normally resides, in London. That too must say something about its quality if it is going to be bought for the nation in that way.
Yes, and it's yet another example of the brilliant NLHF, the Heritage Lottery guys, because they stepped in and bought it 2017, I seem to remember.
For people who clearly can't see it, for the purposes of this podcast, are we talking something a centimetre across, a couple of centimetres across?
About the size of a bottle top. I think I read that the detectorists thought it was when they found it.
What is your own personal take on the item? What's your view of it?
Well, my view of it, and the reason why I approached the Northants Museum, was that it's not only a window on the medieval past of Northamptonshire, we think about 1450, so it's an interesting period. And in terms of history, it would have been the family of Richard III, if not him, and everyone's heard of him round here. My reason for suggesting this is not only is it a window on the historic past, the medieval past of Northamptonshire, but it is also a beautiful object representing the Rockingham Forest and the marvellous ancient woods which you can still visit, particularly in North Northamptonshire, are the same. If you're wandering in there and it's far enough from the road, you could be in the same place as Edward IV galloping after the deer.
What do you think this item says about Northamptonshire from that age, in terms of the importance of Northamptonshire perhaps to the nobility, to the sovereign of that era?
Well, it's still got this great historical link, and Rockingham Castle, which is where William the Conqueror built his castle in Northants as a centre for hunting, is still there. So there's a great sort of aristocratic link, if you like. But I think the point about all that as a wonderful place is it is a really democratic place for everybody.
Great to know, therefore, that a forest with its own history for the monarchs of the day as a playground is now available to the wider public. We can all take the benefits that come from that particular part of Northamptonshire. Jeremy, why should this particular item be in the exhibition, telling as it does a history of Northamptonshire?
Well, it's something which is very special. It was found in Northamptonshire and is now on show in one of the great museums of London. So it's a special thing for Northamptonshire in that respect. And as I say, it is something to tell us all about, the visitors, all about the place it was found in and where it comes from. And not only is are the woodlands very beautiful and recognisable, they're some of the best ecological woodlands in England.
Jeremy, it's lovely to hear your enthusiasm for that part of Northamptonshire, the asset that is still available and available to all. It's also fascinating to hear your enthusiasm for the object, which is in its own right, thanks to the detectorists, showing new light on what might have gone on in those areas, even if somebody might have lost it in the course of a little bit of hunting between the trees. Thank you for telling me the story.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this Histories of Northamptonshire podcast. If you would like to find out more about the objects or listen to other episodes in the series, go to www.northamptonmuseums.com. Alternatively, you can visit the Northampton Museum and Art Gallery, where you can see the A History of Northamptonshire in 100 Objects exhibition for yourself. The Histories of Northamptonshire project is funded by Arts Council England as part of the National Portfolio Programme.